Resilience, focus, discipline, courage. Some of the key ingredients in manifesting your vision into a reality. My name is Kim Niles. Join me as we delve into what it takes to make your mark.
Hello, and we are here on the Make Your Mark talk show, and today we have a very special guest. So, Mark Stoddart, did I get that right?
Stoddart, yes.
Stoddart.
Yep.
We have art?
Well, you say Stod and then the art.
Stod and the art. The irony in that is actually the area you specialize in.
Yeah, like leaving my mark, like Mark.
Here we go. So, Mark is a visual communicator. And he is really unique in what he does, in being able to translate history in a form of art. And we're going to really get deep into that. But one of the things I loved, Mark, about reading your bio is I love the part your three words that you stand for: educate, empower, and unite, which are three very big, powerful words. They are overly used sometimes, but I do feel that you do embody those words. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how we arrived at this place of you now being a visual communicator.
About myself, and how long do I have to talk about that?
You can talk. You got time.
Oh, wow.
You got time.
Again, the phrase educate, empower, unite is for me is tying in educating the mind, empowering the body so the souls can unite as one. I just feel that at a young age, I always wanted to find ways of communicating stories. And I feel that just picking up that pencil was the best gift that was ever given to me to actually tell stories. And kind of just being the only son in the household and a limited of toys, I had to kind of create my own world, my own reality. So I usually will get comic books or whatever I can do just to redraw and actually mimic those drawings and then cutting them out and creating my own little characters out of it and creating my own little imagination of a world. And that builds into finding more areas of actually telling stories. And I'm fast forwarding now to high school, and last year, and kind of guess a group of my friends, we wanted to be a part of a movement. And I did funny enough, I'm going to get back to the years now. I start dating how long I've been doing this, but in '89 was my first t-shirt.
Okay.
And actually creating something that's so iconic now was an image of the Black Panther, T'Challa. And actually designing that and putting it onto a shirt with all of my friends wearing it. And going down to university, when Caravan was on university before I was on Lakeshore. And coming out of the subway system.
You're starting to age yourself now.
I know I am when I'm talking the story, but it's informative to understand the theme behind resilience, right? Mm-hmm. And believing in your gift and sticking through whatever the heartaches that happen along the way. Something has brought you here to do what you do, your purpose. So just creating those shirts at that time and seeing the reaction of people seeing us wearing those shirts, it made us become like celebrities. And I just took that on. I'm like, okay, it's like one of those out-of-body experiences, realizing we have something to offer. And that builds into other things and meeting new people at the same time. So I think I'm just rambling into the story, but this artistry has always been the safe haven for me.
I think one of the key things that I read in your story is that you were able to see a blank t-shirt without seeing a blank t-shirt. You saw the t-shirt, but you saw the vision of what you wanted to create on that t-shirt. And did you know at that time that this was going to be kind of your calling, your purpose, that you were going to be working in?
No. You follow what everybody else has been doing. And the two elements, or three, was soccer, was sports. Mm-hmm. So soccer was my first love. The favorite position, I was a goalkeeper. Kind of because I was saving souls. But that was my love. And then following with my friends was basketball was the second thing. And that led me to a great journey. I was able to play college basketball at Sheridan, which I took illustration and design. But it's almost like those are the two things that kind of was my balance. People who knew me in high school will always see me with my portfolio and a basketball.
Okay.
So anybody who knows will say that Mark was that guy, and everything I would draw at that time was anything with Michael Jordan. Everybody's sketchbook would be Michael Jordan. So everything was always been sports and a little bit of activism, but it was more sports and art was the thing that kind of kept me whole. It was kind of defining who I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And through high school, did you know that you wanted, because I know you went to Sheridan for interpretive illustration program and you graduated from that.
Correct.
Did you know that that was the course that you wanted to do, or were you being pushed or swayed potentially by your parents into the traditional, we want you to be a doctor, we want you to be a lawyer, and, here's potentially my son wanting to do something like he wants to draw?
No, they knew that art was the thing for me, right? There's only the option that we had was OCAD,
Okay.
and which was closer, of course, because I
Yeah.
was from Scarborough, and Sheridan was in Oakville. And funny enough, I applied for OCAD, but at that time, OCAD is totally different to what it is today. There's not too many black people when I was going there, and to me, it was just I felt uncomfortable. It wasn't a space that would allow me to be that creative. I think that would have kind of stifled my creativity. Plus, it was the high recognized school or college at that time for the arts, but I just didn't feel it was the spot for me, and I was reluctant to go into Sheridan, but the basketball team was the kind of thing that kind of drove me to kind of, let's go there and actually get away from Scarborough for 4 years. And I honestly feel that was life-changing for me, because I could have gotten to the wrong crowd at that time, and it would have been distracted and all that kind of stuff. So to leave Toronto or leave Scarborough at that time, it was amazing. It was an amazing journey. And I got to meet more people there and connect with. It's different how I'm kind of that connector, because I know people in Brampton and Mississauga, people from Toronto and Scarborough, and people see me I have nicknames. Like in Brampton, people call me Stodds. Start calling me Stoddart and I know when people say that, I know they're from Brampton.
Okay.
So, just to answer your question again, yeah, my parents knew that it had to be arts. I guess, the level of finding a job scenario. Yeah, my parents always wanted you to find a career that actually can pay the bills. They always felt that art wasn't going to be the thing for me to actually sustain. But it took me being in my 40s, to be honest, for my dad to realize, yeah, he's not budging. It's going to be this, and he kind of accepted it for what it was. And yeah, here I am.
Okay.
Not 40 yet, but
we'll leave that alone.
Yeah, I know.
So, did you ever, looking back now, did you ever see yourself, I would consider you like a modern day social activist, but a social activist that does storytelling and potentially heals with storytelling in your art, is how I personally see you. Would you have seen yourself moving towards that?
Yeah, because if I look at the trail that I led myself into, like I said, my first T-shirt was the Black Panther. Why did I choose the Black Panther? And that time, the level of social consciousness was happening with the music. At that time, you hear Public Enemy, Souls of Blackness, KRS-One, Public Enemy. I think I just said it again. Brand Nubian. The music was the kind of just the trail of our lifestyle, what it was, right? And the stuff that we wore. So I emulated. I wanted to tell my story through that music. So I wanted to create shirts that are powerful and impactful. So I was on that level. I was so radical. I was doing my first shirt. I can remember was Ice Cube came up with his first album after leaving NWA, and it was.
That we're not believing that you're 40 anymore, right? Or,
I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
But we'll get to that. We'll know with that. But,
okay.
But he had America's Most Wanted, and his song was "I'm the Nigga You Love to Hate." I don't know if you're gonna beat that, but
No, it's okay.
But and I created a shirt off of that. I wanted to see if white people would actually wear that shirt, because people embody the music and everything else, and I put Ice Cube on the back of their shirt, and that sold like hotcakes. A lot of people didn't want to wear it because they felt uncomfortable, but I felt like that's one thing about shirts. Wearing an item on your chest is that you have to embody that. You have to be in a position that whatever you put on has to speak to who you are. And I seen a lot of people who were uncomfortable wearing it, and some people wanted to embody that moment. So I kept like, you know what, let me keep adding and pushing the envelope of more shirts in that way. And my other shirt I put out was the police brutality that was happening in the city at that time. And I did support your local police, and I had a police, and I had a pig on it, and a serve, protect, and break your brother's neck. And then the back of the shirt was beat yourself up. So I was like pushing the envelope. And that time, it wasn't just me, there was Adrian from Two Black Guys was doing provocative kind of shirts that was very moving at the same time. So it was a time.
Okay.
So I was in that time of things were happening, and I wanted to be that person to speak to that and speak to the people what they wanted to wear.
Absolutely. You just kept it relevant with what was happening in the scene.
And
Awesome.
still up to this day, I still do that. I can't just fake it. I can't do bubblegum t-shirts.
Yeah.
I know I can fit in. And let me take it back, because I can do bubblegum t-shirts I do for other people. At the same time, the moments you can capitalize for those bubblegum t-shirts, like for example, the Raptors winning.
Yep.
I was that same person. I ain't gonna lie. I did my bubblegum shirts to get that moment. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay. Awesome. On that note, Mark, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. From a tender age, I recognized that I was not the average girl. I was always opinionated, outspoken, and for the most part, unapologetic. I was born to lead, to inflict positive change, to serve. I was born a leader. Harnessing this internal drive led me to spearheading several businesses while unlocking potential within large organizations in director roles throughout the city. While on this quest, I discovered my love for people and passion for personal development. Throughout my career, I have mentored hundreds of individuals, both personally and professionally, channeling my belief of self-care and with an avid love for fitness. Daily, I nurture my mind, body, and soul, embracing the very act of self-love. I truly do believe that you cannot give what you don't have. With a commitment to living on purpose and within my purpose, my personal mantra is to leave you better than I met you. Hello and welcome back to the Make Your Mark talk show. Today we have Mr. Mark Stoddart.
Welcome to my show.
There you go. Make your mark. So, Mark, just before the break, we were talking about the fact of you didn't really see yourself being more so of a social activist. But one of the first ways that I really met you was more so from you being a mentor to young people, predominantly within the Scarborough community. Now, I know you go across the GTA, but you've really kind of taken that community under your wings.
That's a lot of pressure you say like that.
No, but you have though. It's the real. Like you've taken that community under your wings, and you know if somebody says to me, "Oh yeah, you know this guy," I'm like, "Yeah, I know his mentor," right? And it's kind of like that. That's how I've perceived you, and which is a beautiful thing.
No, it is. It's just I kind of get humbling because I'm not that guy who actually puts myself in that pedestal saying I'm that guy.
Yeah, but you should. I believe at some point you should own the work that you do, and you do make an investment in terms of sowing into young people, which you and I both know that they need it. And it's a huge need, and it's actually dying out because we're looking at having people like yourself and other elders within the community that are sowing into them. But then what happens when, God forbid, when you move on, who's gonna be doing your work? So you being able to instill what you've learned and trying to raise up predominantly young men to be leaders is very, very important. And it's something that shouldn't just be overlooked. So did you ever see yourself coming into this role as to, you know, being someone that was leading these young men to, you know, really giving them that insight on lived experiences?
You just said it, it's lived experiences. I think how you draw people into things that you're passionate about. So I think my mentorship started at basketball, because that's my basketball and soccer, again, those are my love.
Yep.
And you hit at a certain age of your life, you hit that glass ceiling and you can't really play the sport how you would like it to play. Maybe in the mind, but not in the body. So the best way is transferable skills is to share that. And basketball was one of those things, was the avenue for me to actually give back. And that's probably my early stages of saying mentorship was coaching basketball and see how far I can develop some kids from Scarborough. I was involved with the Scarborough Blues basketball organization. Sam McKenna is the founder of that, and I met him at my first job, which was silk screening. My silk screening job when I left college, I was working at this company called Narama Design, and he was there producing shirts for the summer camp for the Scarborough Blues. And what was cool with that was that he asked me to be a part of it. At the same time, I was also legacy, was the branding to the Scarborough Blues organization. I created their logos for them.
Okay.
So you just never know how your journey leads you. And some of the young men that I mentored there at that time, when they were like 7 or 8, are now grown men that I still have relationships with, and they call me Unc all the time. And it's weird to me sometimes thinking of them, but yeah, you just never know that these mentorship is just life skills, and you just build these camaraderie with these people, these young men, and you become an uncle, a father, whatever that is that they're looking for, and you're just there to guide them along the way, and you build these true trust of a bond with them. And so basketball was that leading stage, and now fast forward to now, like I'm involved with an organization called Rise with Randall Ajay, who's a co-founder, and meeting with him for the first time 7 years ago was an opportunity with Quentin, was another poet that I met through the community, and he connected us. And we just formed this bond, which now is timeless. He's like my son in a way. Mm-hmm. And I always feel like mentorship doesn't have to come from one person, it can come from many people in different ways, right? And you just share information, knowledge, the pylons that they can kind of maneuver through life with, right? And it's weird when you say that, because I didn't have it. I did have it, but not to the extent what I'm giving to the people that are around my space right now. So yeah, I honor that and I take that on, yes.
Awesome, good for you. Yeah. So what would you say one of your biggest accomplishments has been?
Biggest accomplishment? Ooh.
I know, right? That's a big one.
Holy crow. To actually living the life as an entrepreneur. Like, I'm not in the matrix of the 9 to 5. I'm able to sustain myself in my business and living the freedom of working for me, right? I think that's a big accomplishment, because I've seen a lot of people who will have businesses fail from it, right? So the resilience of just sticking it out and still doing the work that I want to do, it's been good. I think that's a good accomplishment, and I'm still continuing to do that.
Okay,
so
awesome.
I feel like I'm blessed with that. I think that the universe is just giving me these opportunities to actually live off of this.
And how has it been being an entrepreneur for you for so many years?
Oh my gosh.
We know that the beauty and the glitz and glamour that they see, and everyone walking in the park picking flowers, and today this is my beach space, this is my workspace.
The soundtracks of everybody's lives, right?
How has that been for you?
I would not take it away from anything. Like, I enjoy it. But again, there's many times I question, like, maybe I should go back into a job. I ain't gonna lie. It's been many times but I know I would never be happy, right? So, I love it. It's a part of the business. There's that roller coaster. You're gonna get your peaks and valleys, right?
Yep.
And you just enjoy that journey along with every part of the way, right?
So what was a time that you felt like giving up? Like, you really, you wanted to toss in the towel, and you wanted to say, you know what, enough is enough?
Probably when late 90s, I was, things were happening for me in a way. I was burning the candle on two sides. I had a great job. I was working at Much Music. And within Much Music, you make the contacts of other artists, and I was doing their branding for them. Like for BMG, Sony, Universal, I was doing that kind of work. and at the same time, money was coming in, so things was just rolling. But as one goes up, something has to come down. And I left Much Music, and I had another job that was paying even more. And I was like, this is, just feeling the lavish life of things that are just happening. Get a nice vehicle, rolling, looking like you're the Don Juan, which is gassing yourself up. That's when the ego plays a little bit more into your personal space. And like I said, downsizing, company folds, the people who are getting paid the most gets cut the first.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a job. The work that I was doing for myself wasn't really sustaining me a little bit. It was good, but it wasn't lucrative in a way I can really live off of it. And funny enough, it's always that calling. My dad, his first job, only job, was working for Cadbury, right?
And his only job.
Only job, he worked there for at least close to 36 years of his life.
Wow.
Like he put in work there. So with those opportunities, for us, I'm a Cadbury baby. So he will come home, and then come home, and you can just smell the Halls candy on him. And that's my first way of interacting with people, because my dad would come home with all this chocolates and stuff, and I would go back home or go back to school, and I would share with all my friends, and I would make friends because of that. And I realized, hold on, why am I making all these friends? I said, no, let me sell the stuff. So I became a young little entrepreneur at a young age, and funny enough, with that, becoming a teenager, that was my first or second job, was working for Cadbury. I hated that job, trust me, I tell you. I hated it. Oh my gosh.
Especially because your dad worked there.
Oh, so they would watch me, right?
Yeah.
Holy crow, so frustrated, man. Like, they love my sister. Oh, Marcia's a beautiful worker, but your son, oh, we can't. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it's the worst, I can tell you this, the worst way when you hate a job is when you finish your work and then you go home, you go to sleep. You say in your dreams, you're dreaming the job in your head, and you couldn't get no sleep because you're in a dream of that job you hate. Oh,
I know what that feels like.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was my feeling. But back to what I was saying is that I lost all the jobs, and I didn't know where to go. My dad goes, well, you always can come back. I'm like, man, I don't want to go back to Cadbury. But that was one of my most humbling experiences to be in, because it changed my perspective of how, like I said, things that are good for you, there's always something else that you have to kind of navigate to. And I take that as one of my life lessons of learning something. And from that job, a young lady left because she was on mat leave. And it was in the graphics department. So I applied for that position, I got in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that opened another arena for me as an artist again. And that took me on another level of finding myself, which was amazing. But just to end it short was that that year, a good friend of mine, Sean Rose, we call him Blue, he transitioned. And that shocked me in Scarborough and Malvern. That totally shocked all of us in the community. And that moment, for that, took it upon myself. I realized that I can't just live just to exist. I gotta live. And I went back into doing the arts again. And I started painting. Instead of doing the graphic stuff, I went back and just actually doing paintings.
Okay.
So that changed everything for me.
So it just goes to show when one door closes, the other one opens.
Most definitely. I'm a testament of that. And it's funny that even now, full circle again, I stopped painting and just doing the other things of life, of just working, right? And just not, I would say exist. I'm still living, but not really being happy what I'm doing. And a young man that I mentor, he transitioned 2 weeks ago, or last week was his funeral and stuff. And it got me to start thinking again that you have to leave your legacy. You have to really leave an impact on people's lives, right? Of course, I mentor, but at the same time, what about me? What is it that I want to be happy with? That when I'm gone and when I leave my mark, the show the mark. But,
yeah, make your mark.
I'm making my mark. But what's going to be that piece that people can remember me by?
That's a key piece. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hello, and we are back on the Make Your Mark talk show, and we're having some really deep discussion today with Mark Stoddart here in the studio. And Mark, one of the things we left off on is we left off on the topic of, what is your legacy going to be? And we're here on earth now, but you know what? We're not thinking sometimes beyond that. Now, as of recent, you've experienced younger people transitioning
Yes.
out of this world. And I'm sure that's obviously done something to you, especially when you're mentoring them and you've been working with them closely. But how do you deal with particularly people moving on around death? Like, what does that do for you? What does it do within you?
That's a real good question. I'm still just trying to deal with that myself. I think last year for myself, I lost a good friend on my birthday, and it just spun me back to when I lost Sean, and Nigel was his name, and he was there with me at Blue's funeral. So it just got me thinking. It's always a level of reflection when people are close to that transitions, right? And that year on my birthday, when Nigel passed, when I got the news, I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. And then from that channel, from that moment, there's an abundance of transitionings. Like from my aunt, three of my aunts passed, cousins, friends. So it was just that year of last year was like, I thought this year would be good. Like I said, you know what, I'm gone through. I got enough more. They said they come in threes. This was more than threes. I said, you know what, I got my abundance of it now. I'm good. And then this year, like from Mr. G from G98.7 who transitioned, and knowing that how involved I was with particular people, like with Mr. G, like I did the branding for them. So I know my contribution with people within those spaces. And then to lose another comrade, a young man who I was mentoring, which was JV, was a shock because it's his loss or his transition was he's too young, right? And it hit me. And just to see how everybody was coping with that, of losing somebody, because I think the younger generation now, or young people, haven't been through that, right? And then for me, kind of just, I've been through it, so I'm just trying to be supportive as much as I can, but at the same time, I'm hurting. And I'm trying to be that cool guy at the same time, but I have nobody to be there to actually hear me dealing with what's going on. And even now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm healing. I'm feeling like it's still a place that I'm trying to cope and figuring out what's happening, why is this happening. There's those questions that you throw into your head, but it always keeps coming back that we all live on borrowed time, right? And I go back to my mentor, Dr. Carlos, and he told me, it's like, it's nothing to do with the day that you're born or even with the day that you die, right? It's what you do, that's that dash in between. It's what's going to be your mark, what's going to be your legacy that leaves that blueprint that people can follow. So it just puts me back into the gym again. Like, I gotta go harder. I gotta do the things that keeps me happy. And maybe through not speaking to it, but leading by it, hopefully the next person can see what I'm doing and they might follow suit, and they gotta find their way of preserving their stories. Because that's what we are. We're doing, we're storytellers.
Yes.
We are storytellers. And one of the biggest quotes that I love, like, I'm a quote guy, as you already know, because I gave up my Thursdays quote, was tell me the facts and I will learn. Tell me the truth and I believe. But if you tell me a story, it'll live in my heart forever. So I just want to preserve the right stories that can kind of resonate to people. Yeah, so yeah, that's where I am right now. It's just coping, learning, and this building a legacy behind it.
Okay. Do you find in moments of trying to cope that you find yourself being, do you shut down, or are you more artistic and more creative at those times?
No, I've been to be honest, right now I've been shutting down. There are projects that I'm involved with right now that needs my creative juices, but I have a, what do you call it, artist block, whatever it is. There's no inspiration right now, and I gotta find it. And I know where I have to pull it from. I just gotta go to that space and get going. So I'm looking forward for the next couple of weeks what's gonna come out of me. because I think I've been through enough to know that I have to put something out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, based on everything that you do in terms of with mentorship in the community and, you know, social activism and your creativity, I believe that you are experiencing these things because there's more for you to create, for you to tell your story. So just as a piece I'm giving you, I believe that it is part of your story, and
Yeah.
it's part of you being more artistic and being that legend, literally, that your hat says that you are, in terms of creating and telling a story that a lot can't answer. Because when we lose someone that is very young, how do you explain that? We can't explain that,
No.
but that person also did leave their legacy.
Almost. Oh yeah.
You know, so it's like a reminder to us. It's like, you know what? Time waits for no man. So when we think we have time, we don't know if we have tomorrow. What are we going to do today to make that difference? That how am I going to impact a life today? And I think that's the message that I took from this situation when I saw that, and I looked back and I saw what JV had done, and I thought, that is amazing that in 26 years, he has accomplished what most people don't accomplish in a lifetime.
That's totally 100% support what you just said right there. You're right. And that's the calling for myself again. Like I said, I got to put in the work.
Yes.
Right. And yeah, it's just been an interesting couple of weeks, to be honest. And just to sit back and see how everybody grieves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that you have to start thinking about to call people. I think that we get so comfortable on our phones, our devices now, that we think our check-ins is through a simple text.
Yep.
And that's it. I think my regret, I feel, I could be honest and transparent, and I can say this honestly, that as when you give yourself to people, that I feel that you feel that when you lose somebody, did I give enough before that time, right? And I feel that, I know I'm in a good place with JV, but I feel that I know I could have gave you a little bit more. But I think that's with anything. I think that you could have been there making that last call, or you could have did that check-in kind of thing, right? So I just realized with that, I gotta do that with people that are here.
Yes.
And do more of an honest call, and not just a text, and just to check in on people and see how they're doing, right? And to see what's going on in their lives.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt.
Absolutely. So as an artist, Mark, was there ever a time you just felt like, you know what? I want to change fields. I want to do something completely different.
Yeah, I want to be a dancer.
Oh my God, my last guy said that.
I know, I heard you. I was being smart. No,
Was there anything else, like something else totally different?
Totally, but it's weird because it's like being a teacher, right? But then I'm teaching, I'm mentoring. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's totally outside of everything. Wow.
Was there ever a time like you wanted to be, I don't know, a doctor or a lawyer, or I don't know, you wanted to be a carpenter?
Honestly, I'm thinking that. I'm thinking like building things, like getting my hands in and doing something. But that's like an artist. You're still creating.
Yeah, I see
you know
what
what I mean? Like I'm in this world, like I'm in this vessel that I can, whatever I see, I can make it my goal.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I'm this alchemist. Whatever that is, I'll learn, I'll adapt it, and I'll make it happen. That's the gift that I have, and I honor that, right? So to think of something outside of everything else, if I say that, but I've done it in some way or fashion.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're a creator at the end of the day. Like that's what it comes down to.
I'm a vessel of that, yeah.
Okay.
I just adapt. I adapt. I'm like water. I form whatever you put me, I form it. I make it work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Mark, what would you say your definition of success is?
Living. I think fully living your purpose is success, right? And honoring that, and not questioning that is success, and never wavering, right?
Okay. What would you say that Tell me about a time when you knew that you needed to get yourself out of a situation that was no longer serving you.
It's almost feel like a Dr. Phil relationship question. Holy girl, where you come with that question?
Well, it's a real question, right? Because especially as an entrepreneur, you sometimes get yourself into relationships that just don't work.
Yeah, but business relationships.
Yeah.
And he'll kill me. I'm going to call him out for what it is. Like, I have a business associate, and we go head on in our relationship. But there's so much love that we have, right? And many times I told him, yo, I got to divorce you, man. Like, it can't work. Like, you and I are just the opposite. My family sees the frustrations that I have with him. But at the end of the day, he gets it done in his own nonchalant way. He's going to laugh when I bring this up because it's our private relationship that we have. We argue. We don't even argue. I just get frustrated with him. And many times I tell my other associate, yo, I'm done with this guy. I can't do it. But I believe in him so much that there's a reason why I'm with him and why we bond so well, right? Or maybe I can't find nobody else that can fit that void, or if I did, I would have hired that person more than him. But the reality of it, he's good at what he does.
Okay.
And you can't. I don't know if I'm answering your question. There's a reason that you can't. You want to, but you just can't because there's something about these particular people. You got to work with them because you're learning from them as much as they're learning from you.
But what about a relationship that just in your heart that was not working, and it almost was it's not good for you, and you know it's not good for you,
right.
And it doesn't serve you, and you needed to pull the plug.
That's an honest, good question. I've never been in those kind of experiences. I just feel that there's going to be rough patches with people, and maybe it just need time. You need to distance yourself from them, right? And maybe you don't give them as much of yourself, of responsibilities, and you just leave them as what they are, but still be there for them, but not as much as you want them to be with you in the way it comes to whatever that is in your business or your life or relationships. Honestly, that's a good question. I just can't think of anything in a way that I have to remove myself from somebody that has been that toxic kind of thing. Because if it was, I wouldn't be. Your intuition tells you certain things. You just those people. You shouldn't even be around them or anything.
So that's a good point. Your intuition. You do follow your intuition when it tells you, you know what, this isn't serving you.
Yeah, it's not serving you. And there is situations and businesses that I've done, and their actions speak something in a way that, you know what, it served this part. I'm just gonna leave it as that, right? And it's a lesson learned.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And through my journey, it's been that way because I've been doing it so many times. I've created businesses, failed through them many of times. But those failures is what brings you to where you are today, right? You need those failures to actually see why you're doing what you're doing. That's the level of resilience that you said.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
It took a lot to get to this place, to feel comfortable to wear my own hair. It took a lot of reflection and coaching and support from the team here and of course my family. I know my husband really was looking forward to this experience of me exposing my hair, but I was afraid. I won't lie, I was afraid. I didn't know how it would come out. I had been so used to wearing units that I couldn't imagine myself exposed with such a short cut, my jawline and everything just kind of out there. But all in all, I have to say, it was definitely a freeing experience and I'm so grateful for it. And I definitely would recommend it to anyone who has that self-doubt or that unsurety about exposing natural hair. I definitely would take that chance.
Hello and welcome back to the Make Your Mark talk show. And we're having some, I'm going to say heated discussion.
Yeah, because it's heated.
In the studio today with Mark. So Mark, I wanted to kind of get into what are your support systems? Like you've lended such a great hand to the community in being a support system, doing social activism. How do you keep, who helps you out? Who helps to bring you the support that you're looking for?
That's a tough one because in my journey, I've been very private in sharing myself with people, and I kind of internalize a lot of my situations to try to figure out myself. But to answer your question, it's been like my family, like my sister, my big sis. She's been support, one of my support people to lean on. My mentor, Dr. John Carlos, has been a definitely a man that's been giving me great advice about where I am and what I need to do. I'm very selective with the particular people because my circle is very small. People I really give myself, opening myself to. So they know who they are.
Okay.
In a way.
So you mentioned you had a mentor. What made you seek out this gentleman to be your mentor, or is it something that just happened?
It just happened. It's one of those things that, again, the universe does, gives you things that you call out for, and so I always knew of this gentleman, and for me, is this somebody that's attainable at that time growing up? No. But somehow, like you said, be careful what you ask for. And when I'm building my whole new business of Live It Wear, which is Lewy 68, the premise behind activism is that person who is my mentor now, Dr. John Carlos, and kind of guess seeing that visual of him doing what he did at a young age, knowing that I can see myself in that same space of actually standing up for what's right, and now aligning myself and telling his story through my story has been phenomenal. So I'm thankful for that, right? And so again, I lean on him as much as he leans on me of helping.
What's important for you in a mentor?
Trust, honesty, forgiveness, right? Because as a mentor, the person that's your mentee, sometimes they're gonna go through some rough patches and not learning things the right way, right? And you're gonna be frustrated. You might say, I'm done with you, kind of thing. But you gotta have the resilience of patience, right? And just allowing to see that person grow, planting that seed and just nurturing it, adding the waters of learning of life skills, and seeing them become something, right? And then there's those aha moments, and then they realize that they understand. Okay, now I understand what he's been saying, or what she's been saying, right?
Okay. So you've got your arm is almost fully inked with a lot of legends there, right? You got Bob Marley, you got Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X. So what is that passion that you have for history? And I know that's part of your storytelling. In all of your pieces, you're wearing Jackie Robinson right now. So tell me, why is that so important to you?
I think that our history, our narrative gets misconstrued, and I feel that we have to own our stories. And the one thing about the person who honors that history and controls it the right way, that narrative, will have a better way of articulating it. I think that when we get the wrong people, if it gets into the wrong hands, sometimes they embellish their stories about our struggles, right? And I don't want that to be true. And I think the reality is that when you said earlier about history repeating itself, it's not history, it's people repeat history. So if we correct them in the right way of what the true history is all about, I think that we'd be on the right journey. I think sometimes some stories get misconstrued.
So how through Lewy? Lewy.
Like Kiwi.
Kiwi, but Lewy. Okay, got that. Which is your company. Mm-hmm. How do you keep the story going coming from us?
Through what I do as that vessel, as an artist, right? From the beginning, it's been the most simplest canvas is a T-shirt. I think that two things we do: we wear stuff, we eat, we listen. So if we have the way of articulating our stories through music, through the visuals, through what we wear, or through what we put on the walls, or whatever is in your house, and stay true to that, I think that's a powerful thing to have, right? And that's what Levy's all about. It's like you live it, you wear it. It's nothing like you walk the walk, talk the talk kind of thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe earlier on in the year, I saw you in classrooms.
Oh, yes, the next stage of my life, right?
Right. I saw you in classrooms. So what do you do through your brand for schools?
Storytelling. I think that I want a child at a young age to develop their confidence of telling their stories. I think that we become so consumed of telling other people's stories, not telling your own personal stories and your own personal journey, or where your parents come from and their adversities. I think that everybody has a unique story, and I want a child at a young age to develop the confidence of telling who they are and wearing who they are. I think like as consumers, we buy into too many different things, man, and I think that we have the ability to start building your own brand, right? And I also, for myself, it's in a personal investment. I feel that if I can kind of infuse my story a little bit who I am at a young age, and when these kids become adults, they become the new consumers or buyers. And if I impact them in the right way, and I'm still doing what I'm doing, that's the new customers will be coming into whatever I do.
Okay.
So that's my investment.
Okay. And is that something you want to do more of?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think giving back, again, I'm always continuing to give back, right? So yeah, I love it. I really do. I think helping kids and then they remember you and what you've done and how you impacted them, yeah, it's been great.
Okay. Awesome. What makes you tick?
Heat.
I
Yes.
So we're almost there.
Yeah.
We're almost there, heating up the studios
Yeah.
today. So, Mark, what would you say 2 things that you've learned on your journey that you wish you knew if you were to rewind 20 years ago? 2 things that you know today that you wish you knew 20 years ago. What would those 2 things be?
2 things. Well, patience, right? Success is carved in different ways for different people, right? Some people get it quicker, and some people get it later on in life. You just never know. It's like with actors, like Morgan Freeman. I think I thought of him for one reason, because he didn't make it to who he is until in his late 40s and stuff, right? Some other actors made it probably in the younger stages in their life. So you never know how success comes, right? So the love of being patient, right? And I think to end it off is understanding legacy, right? And what that entails of that, right? It's not a joke thing, right? Like this is something that you really have to understand of why you're here. I think are the 2 things. I think I kind of messed up on the last one there, but
No, legacy is very important. And how do you find balance in everything that you do? Like we talked a lot about support system, mentors, and so forth, but how does Mark stay holistically resilient? Do you work out? Do you
see this body here? Are you crazy? I need to get back to the gym.
I was just asking a question. Maybe you like yoga. I don't know what your thing is.
If you look at my timeline before,
Okay.
the mark of old, that was a gym rat, man.
Okay.
I love the gym. I need to get back in the gym.
Okay.
This spare wheel right here needs to.
Hey.
No, I needs to put some. I like to get some of that. I can wear like a nice little medium shirt. Feel like a superhero. Finally.
There you go.
Yeah,
but what do you actually do though right now that gives you that balance? Like when you need that time for yourself, especially as a creative spirit. I believe that's something that's really important.
It's important to travel. I think seeing the world.
Okay.
And find like-minded people in the same kind of arena as you inspires me.
Yep.
Keeps me going because I can see how I can kind of collaborate with these people because I just like the arts, whatever that is. If it's through spoken word or it's through like the visual component of seeing another artist do things, it gets me going, it gets me riled up. So I think traveling, seeing that needs to happen. It just gets you recharged.
Okay.
Traveling is the key thing that needs to happen.
Awesome. And what would be some advice that you would give since you mentor quite a few young people right now? What are some of the things that you've seen that you feel that really needs to be identified for young men specifically that you would give as tips for them now?
To be more vulnerable in the way of expressing how they feel and showing people that you care about them. Like even defining, not even care about letting, like when you see a brother on the street, acknowledge them. don't put your head down or just whatever. You see a guy, you just give him that time that I see you, or somebody that you know. Let them know that you love them, embrace them.
I'm going to ask that question interject this question right here, because I'm pretty sure you have some historical facts on this. Why do you think that is that when we see someone that looks like us, that we sadly look the other way?
Oh, these days, some of the kids, you ain't afraid of getting shot, I guess, or you feel like they may come up in the wrong way. I'll give you an example. Just recently that happened to me. I was at the gas station, and Esso gas station, want to give some context to the story, in Scarborough.
Yeah.
And I already pumped my gas, and I'm in to pay for the gas, and another brother was ahead of me, and another gentleman with his son was there, and he didn't bump into me, but he's there waiting. Mm-hmm. So the teller was calling the next person. So the gentleman there, I could see something was off with him, but I didn't know, but I just left it alone. So he's ahead of me, so I tapped him to let him know he's calling you to go ahead. This brother jumped and goes, "Don't touch me. Why are you touching me?" Screamed, almost like he wanted something to happen. Like he wanted right there the confrontation between me and him. And I had to sit in a different place, something would have went down. But I said to him, calmly, I said, "No, I'm just letting you know that you need to go ahead. It's your turn, because I'm not bumping ahead of you. I'm letting you know, just go ahead." He goes, "Why are you touching me?" And his voice kept going louder and louder, and the other guy there with his son. And then I said, "Okay, I'll go ahead of you since you don't want to go." And it just felt you can tell there's mental illness with this gentleman. Don't know what it is, but at the same time, I didn't want to interrupt or just didn't want to cause any tension between that. And maybe I could have be a little bit more to help him. I don't know, but it's just like he just didn't want something to happen. Or I didn't want nothing to happen. And I got my gas paid, walked out, and then the father with his son, and he goes, my brother, and he called me and he goes, "You handled that well." And he goes, "You know something else could have went down." And I said, "Yeah, I know, but you can just see there's something wrong with him. And you can see he's calling out for help. And maybe, hopefully somebody over there that can help him." And it's weird because you see men out there all the time crying out, and that's some way of crying out.
It is.
And
good for you.
Yeah, it was weird because I know I ain't not gonna have no fight, because I don't know if I can hold my own. But I'm just saying, but you just want to be another statistics of black men erupting over stupidness, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that statistic of that, right? That's all.
Okay.
But I just hope we have to do a better job of when you see a brother that's trying to encourage them and just try to help them along, because there's a lot of broken men out there, men or brothers that need help.
Okay. What do we have to look forward to from Liwi?
Liwi 68. More of me trying to show the best light of myself, right? And I want to do more of me. I've been in the service of helping other people. I got to make more time for myself and actually start putting out more work for me. I think it's time. I think I want to get back into the arts again. I really want to start being more creative and making more time for that, making more space for that. So we'll see.
Good for you for saying that. A lot of times when you are in a position of helping other people a lot, you forget yourself on the way.
Oh, most definitely.
So it's important to remember that you still owe it to yourself to leave your legacy.
My mark.
Leave your mark, of course.
Show, you know.
Yeah, leave your mark.
Yeah, my mark.
And continue to be the legend that you are in the field that you're in, and not get lost sometimes in someone else's dream.
Agreed. Yeah, on somebody else's coattail, right?
Yes. So that's really, really important. So, Mark, where can our viewers find you?
You can find me here at your mark. But of course, you can catch me on my Instagram, which is liwi68.com. Facebook is Mark Liwi Stoddart. Website is too. It's liwi68.com, and also the birthmark50.com.
Okay. Awesome.
No, thank you.
Mark, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for being so open about your journey. I really appreciate you coming by and, dropping your journey and also speaking on the part about, people transitioning and how that's affected you and how people should cope and really what that's doing for you. So thank you for being that vulnerable.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at makeyourmark.ca. Until next time.